Hey traders, welcome back to the channel. It is Monday, March 23rd, and do I have an interesting story for you today? If you saw my last video, just this past Friday as a matter of fact, I will link that one right here. So if you saw that video, you'll recall how I was stating that trading has simply become more dangerous within the past year because of the level of unpredictability and the fact that a single tweet can either sink or skyrocket the market, and how certain people at the highest levels of the government are actively manipulating the market. Guess what happened over the weekend? So overnight, things looked ugly. Futures were pointing sharply lower. Asian markets were in free fall. Japan's Nikkei dropped 3.5%, and South Korea's Kospi crashed 6.5%, with trading briefly halted. Oil was threatening to crack through $120. The world was bracing for the U.S. to follow through on Trump's 48-hour ultimatum that the U.S. was ready to strike Iran's power plants. Then, at roughly 7 a.m. Eastern Time, Trump posted on Truth Social, in all caps by the way, that the U.S. and Iran had, quote, very good and productive conversations over the weekend aimed at a complete and total resolution of hostilities. He ordered the Pentagon to pause all military strikes against Iranian energy infrastructure for 5 days. That was all it took. Dow futures instantly surged over 1,000 points. S&P futures ripped nearly 3% off their lows. Brent crude, which had been trading near $113, collapsed toward $92 in minutes. Roughly $1.7 trillion of market value was added in the time it takes you to walk from your car to your desk. By close, the dust had settled into real, if tempered, gains. The Dow finished up 631 points, a 1.38% gain, closing at 46,208. The S&P 500 added 1.15% to close at 6,581. The Nasdaq gained 1.38%, settling in at 21,946. The Russell 2000 was the star of the session, surging over 3% and reclaiming the 2,500 level. Airlines and cruise lines, both destroyed by oil cost fears, ripped 4 to 5% or more. Energy stocks slid alongside crude. That all sounds great, but here's where it gets uncomfortable. And it's a question worth asking. At 6:50 a.m., roughly 15 minutes before Trump's post, there was a sudden isolated volume spike in S&P 500 E-mini futures on the CME. In the same window, WTI crude futures saw an almost identical burst of activity. Thin pre-market liquidity makes these kind of spikes stand out like crazy. There was no news, no catalyst, nothing public that would explain that kind of coordinated movement across two asset classes that move in opposite directions on geopolitical relief. Whoever was long equities and short crude in that 15-minute window made a fortune before the rest of the world even knew Trump had sent a tweet. Is that market manipulation? I can't prove it definitively. Large macro funds run models that scan news feeds, social media, and sentiment signals. Algorithms move quickly. Leaks happen in governments. But the pattern is worth watching because Iran denied the talks ever happened, calling Trump's announcement a, quote, ploy to manipulate markets. And notably, the 5-day ceasefire on strikes aligns almost perfectly with the close of the energy trading week. We are living in the most headline-driven market most of us have ever seen. One Truth Social post can swing your portfolio more than 6 months of earnings. Gold gave back 5.5%. Bitcoin caught a bid, and crude finally dipped below $100. For now, markets are exhaling, but Hormuz hasn't reopened, and the clock on that 5-day window just started ticking. So that's it for today. Hope you had a good day. You know, I mean, like, I'm always saying the same thing. Whatever happens in the news, or whatever the reasons, or however nefarious or not the realities behind certain things are, if you can pay attention to the charts and the candlesticks and the chart patterns, you should be able to do pretty well no matter what is driving all of this action. So as long as you can read the candlesticks and identify the trends and take advantage of the trends when you see them, you should be doing okay. So that's it for now. Have a good evening. See you back here tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody.